everyone. My name is Avery Manko, and today I will be talking about my looking forward and looking back presentation. So first off, I would like to share some background information about myself. So I am a psychology major here at SAU. My future education plans is to either have an LCSW degree, also known as a licensed clinical social worker in California, or I will be applying for the master's program at SOU, potentially going for a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Once I obtain my degree, I hope to be an individual therapist to work with children, teens, and adults. Finally, some of my interests in psychology are social work, individualistic therapy, and addiction counseling, or working in rehab centers. So looking back, what stuck out to me? So during weeks 3 and 4, we covered race and ethnicity. In this class, we covered common experiences for immigrants, such as microaggressions, interventions, micro interventions, and metacommunication. So before taking the class, I understood that people have their own experiences and have their own cultural backgrounds. I also understand that people have experienced racism from others. It can range from negative stereotypes about others' cultures and people, to physical aggression or harm done to another person of color. Um, I learned that microaggressions doesn't always come out as intense comments towards somebody, but can sometimes come out as subtle, intentional, or even intentional biases. With knowledge of microaggressions and learning examples of what it could look like or sound like, I was able to learn how to properly address microaggressive comments towards someone in a very educating and empathetic way, as they may not have intentionally meant it. Um, so moving on, what also stuck out to me? The small and large group discussions were something that I really look back on. The discussions were really impactful to me because I got to learn about the people in my table groups, either whether that was in my small table groups or when we moved to different tables around the room. Anyway, um, I was able to share and hear some people's perspective on general or sensitive topics. I find that the discussion groups was a good way to keep myself in check during class and to make sure that I'm following the work and the topics we were talking about. Specifically in our multicultural psychology course, it was a great way to learn people's own backgrounds slash experiences and how that it can relate to class discussions. Certain class activities that I can personally look back on was the vignettes, and answering questions asked by Dr. Goodman, um, to either be shared within tables or to ourselves. I like the vignettes because they were written to be a potential real life scenario and seeing if the helping professional does a good or bad representation of their job. It was really helpful to be able to see what the helper could have done differently or what they did well in. I also like to join the new groups and to hear other people's ideas about the vignettes or even class discussions. Another activity I really liked while we practiced were the self-reflection questions. So, for example, one of the questions might say, what is a misconception you have heard about sexual orientation, and where did you hear this message from? Um, Being able to think back and address those misconceptions by others is important to help destigmatize stereotypes about certain populations. So, looking forward. Some personal connections I will take from the class looking forward is to first be more mindful of how different life experiences shape people's perspectives. Another personal connection I have learned was what microaggressions were and how to be able to intervene properly. Microaggressions, as I stated before, can sometimes be unintentional or intentional against another person. Whether it was intentional or not, I will still intervene and educate them on their comment or comments. Finally, after taking this course, I still want to be that safe person for others to talk to. The small groups of people shared, um, excuse me, in the small groups, people shared personal stuff, and keeping that trust and security for someone is especially important when working in the therapeutic field, I'm sorry. Finally, in my future profession, some of those personal connections I have made is to be more self-aware of my own assumptions and biases. Um, This course made me want to make sure that the environment I create for clients is inclusive among multiple backgrounds and cultures amongst different people. I realize that a lot of communities may feel excluded in society as they may feel underrepresented in unfamiliar or even familiar environments. So, to make sure that all potential clients I have feel like they and their culture are supported and represented is one of my most important things. Another connection I have made looking forward is using multicultural knowledge to provide effective services. So, um, I'm thinking of going into the therapy field, specifically individual work, so with children, young, teens, and adults. I have, if I have someone, of a client of mine who is a different culture as me, I will make sure to offer them resources that may provide better services than me. Of course, this is only if it is brought up by the client and upon their request. Finally, this course has um, helped me to make sure that a helper-client alliance is built solely on trust. I want to ensure that the client can trust me enough to learn more about them and anything that they might be going through at a vulnerable stage in their life. And having that trust is especially important because I know a lot of people do not like to open up. So having that supportive environment is one of my main priorities. Um, Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to watch my presentation. Thank you, Dr. Goodman, for such a great term this year. I really enjoyed the class, and I hope all of you guys have a great summer. Thank you so much.